Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer Science Academy. This is topic of the day discussion session. In this session, we will be discussing a very important topic, that is Green GDP. Why it is in news? Because recently the Chhattisgarh government has said that it will link the forest ecosystem with Green GDP. Okay, so we will see what is Green GDP and what are the implications. Chhattisgarh has become the first Indian state to integrate forest ecosystem services into the calculation of green gross domestic product. This pioneering initiative aims to balance environmental sustainability with economic growth. Okay, so very significant step taken by Chhattisgarh government. That is why it becomes very important from especially UPSC mains and interview perspective. Now, highlights of Chhattisgarh's plan. So that Chhattisgarh plans to quantify forest contributions. That is, key resource ecosystems, key ecosystem services like carbon absorption, climate regulation, biodiversity preservation will be formally assessed and included in the state's green GDP. Okay, we are going to assign a particular monetary cost, okay, monetary figure to this service. That is how much of money can be allocated to carbon absorption. That is, if the carbon absorption was to be done by other means by the government, how many or how much of money should be spent on this aspect. Okay, that will be calculated within the services provided by ecosystem. Similarly, climate regulation, what are the services provided by the forest and how it should be inculcated. Then focus on the ecosystem services. Here, forests are valued beyond their tangible sources for their broader ecological benefits. What are the tangible resources? Tangible resources would be firewood, wood for timber, minor forest produce, etc. etc. These are the tangible resources. Along with these tangible resources, the intangible resources such as ecological benefits are also to be included. With 44% forest cover, these natural resources are crucial for local livelihoods and play a significant role in combating climate change. Okay, so this Chhattisgarh plan is in line with the National Vision Alignment. The initiative aligns with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Developed India 2047 vision, emphasizing ecological and economic sustainability. Then, about green GDP. What is green GDP? By definition, green GDP is an alternative measure of economic growth that includes the environmental costs of economic activities. Okay, the environmental costs of economic activities are included in the green GDP. Okay, so what is the environmental cost of economic activity? That is, suppose there is a development project, how much of the resources are you using, how much of the resources are being depleted, that will also be counted in GDP. Here, it adjusts traditional GDP by accounting for natural resource depletion and environmental degradation. How much of natural resource is used here and how much of environment is degraded in this particular developmental or economic activity. All those will be deducted from the traditional GDP. Then, key features are green GDP acts as an indicator of sustainability. It highlights the balance between economic growth and environmental conservation. And it also values ecosystem, captures benefits like carbon sequestration, soil conservation and water purification. Then assesses how economic activities impact natural resources. Okay, it has a trade-off analysis. Trade-off in the sense, for an economic activity, you are trading off an environmental resource. Okay, what is the trade-off there? To get one thing, you have to trade off something else. So here in this case, environment or environmental resource is being traded off to economical impacts. Okay. Then, so the formula for calculation of green GDP is green GDP is equal to traditional GDP minus environmental degradation cost minus resource depletion cost. Okay, all these things will be included and deducted from traditional GDP. Then you are going to get green GDP. Origins. It was initially introduced in 1993 United Nations Handbook of National Accounting and the System of Environmental Economic Accounting, that is SEAA. SEA. Initially, Green GDP topic or Green GDP concept was formulated by United Nations in this system of environmental system accounting. Okay, this is about Green GDP. So, if that is about Chhattisgarh, what have been the different initiatives taken by the government of India? First one is there is Green National Account Framework. Okay, this framework incorporates environmental factors into national economic accounts. This tracks the value of natural resources, pollution costs, and economic benefits like clean air and water. All these things will be included in national green account framework. Then there is system of environmental economic accounting. It was under 1993 United Nations framework. So it was adopted in 2012 under the United Nations guidance by Indian government. Okay, under this it creates databases for natural capital accounting to support informed policy making. And then RBI's Green GDP estimate. RBI estimated that Green GDP for 2019 was pegged at 167 trillion rupees, reflecting a 10% of adjustment from traditional GDP. Okay, so of the 100% of GDP, 10% GDP was from economy and environment. Okay, environment and natures. If this is adjusted, then we have to deduct 167 trillion rupees from the traditional GDP of 2019. It was supported by theory and Indian Statistical Institute to refine valuation methods. Okay, so it was a scientific method. It was not just done based on the assumptions. It was done with the scientific help from theory as well as Indian Statistical Institute. Then, if there are so advantages, if the green GDP is valuating the green resources, etc., why are not all the countries, why are not all the states going for green GDP? Because of the innate challenges which are present in implementing green GDP. What are the challenges? First and foremost is data limitations. That is, there is lack of reliable and comprehensive data on environmental cost and ecosystem services. Okay, so how are you going to assign a particular cost to ecosystem services? And all the ecosystem services cannot be counted together, because it is very difficult to consider all the environmental or ecosystem services which are happening at the same time. So it acts as a limitation to data. Then subjective assumptions. Okay, that estimates depend on heavily on the assumptions impacting accuracy. Meaning, in a particular region, environmental services can be valued higher, whereas in another region, the environmental services can be valued at a lower. So it is highly subjective in nature. Okay, so it is going to affect the accuracy of GDP estimation as well. Then valuation challenges, that is assigning a monetary values to ecosystem services like biodiversity, cultural heritage, and climate regulation is complex. Okay, how much of monetary value are you going to assign for a particular resource? Okay, how are you going to assign monetary resource for cultural heritage? How are you going to assign a monetary heritage to climate regulation? Okay, what is the basis on how much of money is spent on the particular resources? Okay, so it will be very difficult in valuation. Then there is absence of universal framework at the global level, that is absence of standardized global methodology for green GDP calculation also is a challenge in this regard. So that are the challenges. Then what is the significance of Chhattisgarh's initiative? Okay, what will be the implications? So Chhattisgarh has taken up the initiative, then what are the impacts of Chhattisgarh on other states at the country level, at the global level? Okay, so it is going to have impact on the policy making. That is, it is going to encourage other states to adopt green GDP accounting, promoting environmentally conscious governance. Then economic balance demonstrates how forests and ecosystems contribute to both economic growth and climate resilience. Then global example, It positions India as a leader in integrating natural capital accounting into economic planning. Okay, so it acts as a precedent for other countries or other states as well, so they can also attempt implement this green GDP initiative. Then this move is critical step towards a more sustainable development model, ensuring that environmental resources are preserved for future generations while supporting economic aspirations. Okay, so this is the significance of this Chhattisgarh initiative. So this is the crux of the video. We discussed about green GDP, implications, challenges, and Chhattisgarh's initiative. So for more videos like this, please like the video and also subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you don't miss a notification. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.